as I said last week, folks, if you would have told me that going into game five tonight between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then obviously game five on Tuesday, or excuse me, on Wednesday, between the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics, that these series would be, 3-1, I would say you're not crazy. But if you would have told me that the Knicks and Pacers would be the two teams leading this series, as I said prior to the start of these series, we all obviously projected the number one seed Cleveland Cavaliers to be hosting the number two seed Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I said, if neither of these teams make the Eastern Conference Finals, something catastrophic would have to happen for both of these teams. And they have happened now for both of these teams. For Cleveland, it is the injuries. And now with Donovan Mitchell being out potentially for game five with a calf strain, and Indiana obviously jumping all over Cleveland in game four. After the Cavs came out in game three and really enforced their will on Indiana and got back in the series, obviously you get DeAndre Hunter back, you get Evan Mobley back, you get Darius Garland back. Uh, I thought, there was a chance the Cavs could take this, back to Cleveland tied 2-2 and do a reverse sweep and Cavs in six. We recorded with Jalen Sandvik on Saturday. It was the night after game five. And again, Jalen will be on this show on Thursday, and that's what we talked about. And yet on Mother's Day night, the Cavs came out flat. They came out with no energy. And the crazy thing about it, guys, and you NBA experts, tell me where I'm wrong, because I must be missing something about the Indiana Pacers. They somewhat feel like to me maybe the 2004 Detroit Pistons all over again, where you had Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace. A very good team, but not a Hall of Fame player, not really an all-star on that team. And that team obviously took down the Lakers and stopped them from winning, four championships in 5 years, and really was the reason why Kobe Bryant and Shaq broke up. Rest in peace, Kobe, by the way. This Pacer team has Tyrese Halliburton, who outside of the game-winning shot in game two against Cleveland in this series, has not really played well. Pascal Siakam, who has always been a number two or at least a number three in a championship team, who has played well in spurts in this series, of course, really came on the scene in 2019 when his Raptors defeated the Warriors in the NBA Finals. And then you got Miles Turner, who has been in trade rumors for years, linked to many different teams, including the Lakers at this year's trade deadline. And yet he's still in Indiana, and he absolutely balls. Then you got TJ McConnell, a very good role player, along with Andrew Nemhard and Smith. And, Indiana's just making shots and playing really good defense, and Obi Toppin and being physical, and Benedict Margarine. They're just throwing guys at Cleveland, and obviously DeAndre Hunter, Benedict Margarine got into it in game four, which led to the ejection from Margarine. I actually thought, again, I'm a Cavs fan. You see the shirt today. I actually thought DeAndre Hunter should have got thrown out there as well, objectively. But this was a Cavs team who dominated the regular season, had multiple stretches of winning 13 games in a row, was clearly, in my opinion, without a doubt, the best team in the NBA, not only in the Eastern Conference. And they now, for the third straight year in the playoffs, if they go down to the Knicks, in the first round, and then they go down to Boston in the second round, if they go down to Indiana here in the second round, the Cavs, like it or not, will get a reputation of being soft. And they tried to run it back this year with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, the core four. If they don't get it done here, they're not blaming Kenny Atkinson. Somebody will have to be moved. Now, the speculation out there about, could LeBron James join the roster again? I don't think that's happening. If I'm LeBron, as bad as the Lakers are with their bigs, I would not be leaving Luka Doncic. But the bottom line is here, man, the Cavs' backs are up against the wall. I still think, believe it or not, the Cavs and the Celtics are the better teams. No, the Celtics are a different story, obviously. We all saw the brutal injury Jayson Tatum had. It has not been confirmed yet at the time of this recording, early morning before work here on a Tuesday. It looks like it could be an Achilles to me, which would obviously wipe out his entire next season. We know Jaylen Brown's dealing with a knee injury. The funny thing is, all three of these games that Boston has lost, they've had, at least 15-point leads in the second half. And they go back to just shooting the three and shooting the three and going isolation and not making shots. And the New York Knicks in this series, mostly in the fourth quarter, have gone with Jalen Brunson isolation, and Jalen Brunson just cooking whatever defender, Al Horford, Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Porzingis, Tatum, who's ever on him. Jalen Brunson just winning isolation basketball. And the Knicks, they did not defeat the top three seeds, or I guess they are the three seed, but they went 0-8 this year against the Celtics and the Cavs in the regular season. And now it may be no laughing matter because last year, this Knicks team that did not have karl-Anthony Towns, that did not have Mikal Bridges, they had an injured Julius Randle, an injured Jalen Brunson, an injured Josh Hart, took this same Indiana team to 7 games, which leads me to believe that this Knicks team matches up very well with Indiana. And if you recall, last year in July, when the Knicks made the move for Mikal Bridges, I said they are making a move because they want to be built to beat the Boston Celtics. The same way the Minnesota Timberwolves were built last year, not to win the Western Conference, but to beat Denver. And that's sort of how I feel about the Knicks. I feel like the Knicks are better than the Pacers. And no, if the Knicks and Pacers do end up winning this series, which I think they would both need a win in the game 6, I think the Cavs and Celtics do bounce back in game 5. I'm more confident than Cleveland, though, than Boston, because obviously Tatum's done. We know the Celtics can win games without Jayson Tatum, and boy, would that greatly diminish Jayson Tatum's value if Boston were to go on a run here without him. But it does feel like the Celtics are going to become the sixth team since the 2019 Golden State Warriors to, win the championship and then the next year not even get back to the Eastern or Western Conference Finals. So it is showing parity in the league. And if you would have told me again that the Knicks Pacers would be the ECF starting out in these playoffs, I would have told you you're absolutely crazy. And I think as of today, the Knicks should probably be favored to win the Eastern Conference. Crazy times. Out west, listen, I said when Steph Curry got hurt in this series was over. The Wolves took it to the Warriors last night after it was a slow start in game 3. Golden State was winning the first half without even making a 3-point field goal, which we know in today's NBA is not sustainable. Once again, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, and the Minnesota Timberwolves take control of the second half in both games in the Chase Center. They're up 3-1. They're going to finish them off in 5 games here. This series, it's really sad, got diminished by injuries. The same way I feel like potentially the Indiana and the New York series would get deemed by injuries. Obviously, in the next series, it's Jayson Tatum. In the Cleveland series, it's the Cavs missing Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter in game 2. The swing change game potentially of the series. Again, Golden State, they won game 1 because they were already up by a lot without Steph Curry. But without him, man, their offense is just putrid. Buddy Hield is trying to do whatever he can. Jimmy Butler is no longer an elite scorer at the basket, and Minnesota's just too deep and too talented, and they don't have an answer for Anthony Edwards or Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert on the glass, for that matter, as I predicted going into the series. Now, Oklahoma City is tied 2-2 with Denver. I really felt like Denver let a golden opportunity slip for their hands on Mother's Day where they could have been up 3-1 and in real control of the series, putting a lot of pressure on the young Oklahoma City Thunder. The likely NBA MVP, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, has not even had a great playoff, to be honest with you, at this point, but he hasn't had to because of the likes of both Williams and Chet Holmgren and Lou Dort and Alex Caruso and anybody you could think of on that Thunder team, even Harvenstein, who would face the Knicks potentially in the NBA Finals, his old team, if they get there as well, which would be crazy to think about. But all of these guys producing not only offensively but defensively as well. For Denver, Jamal Murray has had a great game 3. Aaron Gordon has come to play. But outside of that, Russell Westbrook has been a little bit more wild in this series than he was with the Clippers. Michael Porter Jr. has almost been non existent. Christian Braun has almost been non existent on the offensive end. And so it really does feel like Oklahoma City is trying to make Jokic more of a passer and force these other guys outside of him to score the basketball. Because when Jokic gets help, right, when he gets the 40 and 20, but he also gets 10 assists, very hard to beat Denver because they don't really have an answer for Jokic. But when he has, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, not ungodly numbers because nobody else for Denver is producing on the offense side of the court, Jokic will get frustrated. He's not the greatest rhythm shooter ever. We know he gets most of his points at the basket. And Oklahoma City just has too much bench depth where they are quicker, they are outpacing, and their energy and their fatigue is a lot better than Denver, and that may be the difference in the series. I still say if Oklahoma City wants to win this series, I know game 7 would be on their home court, but Denver has already played in one game 7 this series. Denver, by the way, was up 3-2. The Clippers ended up destroying them in game 6. They came back to Denver and won in game 7. I think Denver would be comfortable with a game 7 because they were in it again last year as well at home against the T-Wolves. Oklahoma City had never been in that situation before. They were in a game 6 last year at Dallas where they lost that game. So I think all Denver wants to do is get this to 7. I think all Oklahoma City wants to do is end this in 6. This has been obviously the best series in the second round. I hope it goes 7, and I will predict whoever wins this series, which right now I would give a slight edge to Oklahoma City. I think whoever wins the series will win the Larry O'Brien Trophy in June of this year. Like that clip from the Brand Sports Podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand Sports Podcast right here on YouTube.